You bought the growth chart app. You mark the pencil line on the doorframe every few months. You compare notes with other parents at the playground, half joking, half not. Is she tall for her age? Is he ahead of schedule? Here's the surprising part. The doorframe, the app, the percentile chart, they're all measuring the wrong thing because rapid physical growth in a child isn't really about height and weight at all. It's a signal, a messenger. Pediatric researchers who study growth velocity, not just growth size, have found that when a child's body accelerates faster than expected, it's often telling you something about what's happening on the inside, long before it shows up anywhere else. Not just genetics, not just good nutrition, something more specific, more measurable, and honestly, more interesting than tall parents make tall kids. Growth spurts feel random from the outside. 1 month your child's pants still fit. The next month they're floods. You laugh. You buy new pants. You move on. But behind that ordinary, unremarkable moment is a coordinated biological event: hormones, sleep cycles, nervous system activity, all firing in sync to build a bigger, more capable body in a short window of time. And here's the thing most parents never get told. You can actually see the signs before the growth catches up. Sleep researchers and pediatric endocrinologists have identified a cluster of behavioral and physical cues that reliably show up in the days and weeks leading into an accelerated growth phase. Not vague, he seems different lately, observation specific. Repeatable patterns, doctors sometimes call it a pattern of dysregulation before regulation. Your child looks for a few days like something is a little off, more tired, more hungry, a little more emotional than usual. Parents often worry something is wrong. It's not wrong. It's construction. So what is this construction actually happening inside your child's body? Rapid physical growth in children isn't a smooth, steady climb. It happens in bursts, short, intense windows where bone growth, muscle development, and brain maturation all accelerate together. Researchers call this pattern saltatory growth, which is just a fancy way of saying growth happens in leaps, not lines. Between the leaps, your child can look almost stalled. Then, seemingly overnight, something shifts. Picture this: a toddler who has eaten the same 3 meals happily for weeks suddenly wants seconds, then thirds at dinner. She's not being difficult. Her body is quietly requesting the raw materials: protein, calcium, iron for a growth leap that's about to happen. A few nights later, she sleeps 2 hours longer than usual, deep and hard to wake. That's not a fluke either. Growth hormone is released in pulses during deep sleep, so a body preparing for a spurt often demands more of it. This is the first sign worth watching for. A real, noticeable jump in appetite paired with a real, noticeable jump in sleep need. Not seems a bit hungrier. A clear, sustained change. Researchers who track infant and toddler growth using frequent, close interval measurements, checking length far more often than a standard checkup, would have found something reassuring. Growth spurts show up as measurable jumps within 24 to 48 hours, often preceded by exactly this kind of appetite and sleep shift. It's not your imagination. Something you can plot on paper is being foreshadowed by something you can plot in behavior. And here's the quotable part. The thing you could tell another parent at pickup: your child's crankiness and hunger during a growth phase aren't a discipline problem, they're a construction cost. This pattern holds up across income levels, feeding styles, and family structures. A breastfed baby and a formula-fed baby both show the sleep and appetite surge. A toddler in daycare and a toddler at home both show it. It isn't about what you're doing right or wrong. It's built into the biology of how bodies grow. Back in the 1990s, a team of researchers ran a study that still gets cited in pediatric growth literature today. They recruited a small group of infants and measured their length nearly every single day, an almost obsessive level of detail compared to the usual once every few months checkup for long stretches. Nothing happened. Days, sometimes over a week, with zero measurable growth. The researchers watched closely, wondering if their method was even sensitive enough to catch anything real. Then, without warning, a baby would gain nearly a centimeter in length in a single 24-hour period. Not a gradual creep, an overnight leap. And in the day or two before that leap, Caregivers reported the exact same cluster. Fussier than usual, waking more at night, wanting to feed more often. The disruption wasn't random noise, it was the visible edge of an invisible process. Once researchers connected the dots, the hard days stopped looking like a mystery and started looking like a countdown. The emotional takeaway here isn't guilt for the parents who felt at their wits' end during those days. It's relief. Your child isn't unraveling. Their body is building. So what do you actually do with this? 4 things, starting today. 1. Track patterns, not just size. When your child has a rough stretch of extra hunger, extra sleep, extra clinginess, write down the date. Say out loud, sounds like your body's working hard right now. 2. Feed the appetite. Don't fight it. Offer an extra small snack or portion during these windows instead of assuming they're overeating. Try, you're extra hungry today, let's get you more of what you need. 3. Protect the sleep surge. If your child suddenly wants an earlier bedtime or a longer nap, let them take it. Say, your body's asking for more rest this week, and that's okay. 4. Normalize the mood dip. Instead of correcting the crankiness first, name the cause. Try, I know today feels hard. Growing is hard work. There's a whole industry built around convincing you that growth needs to be optimized. Growth tracking smart scales. Subscription apps that promise personalized growth insights for a monthly fee. Specialty formulas and supplements marketed as growth boosters. Development tracking gadgets that sync to your phone and send you alerts. None of them can do what you already do for free. Notice, a parent who watches for extra hunger, extra sleep, extra tears, and responds with patience instead of panic is doing more for their child's growth than any app ever could. The most expensive nursery gadget on the market cannot tell your child, in a voice they trust, I see you working hard right now, and I've got you. Only you can do that. And if you've ever felt exhausted during one of these rough patches, if you've ever wondered whether you were doing something wrong because your usually easy child suddenly wasn't, let this be the reframe. Your attention during those hard days was never a sign you were failing. It was the exact support your child's body needed while it did some of the most complex work it will ever do. You didn't just survive a hard week. You showed up for construction season over and over, without even knowing that's what it was. If this kind of science-backed insight into how your child actually grows and develops is useful to you, subscribe and hit like. It helps more parents find these videos, and it helps us keep making more of them, grounded in real research instead of guesswork or gimmicks, because the next time your child seems a little more tired, a little more hungry, a little more themselves but not quite, you won't wonder what's wrong. You'll know. It's not wrong. It's construction.